Good morning. My name is Peggy, and it's July the 4th, 2025. And I'm making this video to share with all of you what I've learned over the last year about something called estate redemption. And I want you to know what I know about this important, lawful, and spiritual journey that begins when we ask one question. What if, the moment we were born, an estate or a special kind of whole life insurance policy was created in our name without our knowledge or consent? This estate exists. It's not a conspiracy or a loophole. It's the truth, hidden in plain sight. Welcome to Estate Redemption, a spiritual and lawful journey home. When you were born, your parents registered your birth, and without being aware or informed, they essentially surrendered you. Their autograph made you a ward of the crown, not just as a record, but as a legal act. And this may be new information to many of you, so I hope to share what you need to know about this and how it affects all of us in our community. The registration of birth certificate was a legal process creating a non-living, separate legal entity, often shown in all capital letters, which has been used since the day as newborn infants we were registered as essentially legal chattel, not the beautiful, loving living men and women who we try to be. It is wise to compare these estates to whole life insurance policies that were taken out on us as babies, very special insurance policies meant to care for the living. Unfortunately, we had no knowledge of these insurance policies, and we have a system and authorities have been using these trust accounts without offering us the benefits we were lawfully entitled to, or notifying us of their existence. You, as the living heir, were meant to have access to these insurance policies, but you never knew anything about them. The all caps name is everywhere, and I invite you to consider the number of places that use the all caps in your life. Clearly, the all caps is not us. It's a corporate entity, and it does not represent any living man or woman. And please forgive me if you find it confusing. I sincerely believe the information we are sharing will make a difference in your life and the lives of your family and your friends. I describe the estate redemption as a personal journey and try to share with you in plain language what I know and answer some important questions. It's my plan to help you to understand that you might want to look into something that looks kind of complicated at first glance. But this is a process of acknowledging these estates exist, and all we are asking for is a peaceful, lawful correction of the record. There's a very important second side to all of this, and that is the restoration and redemption of our public system of governance. POGG, POG, stands for Peace, Order, and Good Governance, and it's the gold standard of governance that truly cares for communities. The POG Primer and the POG Protocol were created by Sheila McFarlane to educate elected mayors and councillors and all of us on how to simply correct the record, the public record, and how by simply swearing a new oath to be a public trustee, they can restore their standing. This is governance created in truth, trust, and lawful stewardship and rooted in natural law and order. Mayors now serve as CEOs of municipal corporations rather than as trustees for the living people. The corporation of your town or city is a registered entity, not a lawful public government. It operates in commerce, not in service to the people. The POG Protocol educates and offers peaceful, lawful notice to mayors and councils and all of us that an error has been made and a correction is required. The POG Protocol was created to educate communities on how to correct the legal conversion of their authority and return to governance and truth and lawful local stewardship. When a community begins to restore peace, order, and good governance, we restore the pattern of best practices and natural law. And when we correct our records, we restore the balance, and together we restore the community. Essentially, we just have to remember what good governance is and go back to that. People are tired of all of this, and we want to live together in peace. It is wise to think of these estates as whole life insurance policies that were taken out on us as babies, very special insurance policies meant to care for the living. Of course, we had no knowledge of these trust accounts. Imagine all the while the Crown has been using them to benefit something or someone else. You are meant to have access to these insurance policies, these estates, in your name, but you never knew about them until now. We have been all acting as trustees and covering contracts for all caps, and the Crown has been in usufruct. I know it's quite a word, but it's the word that best describes the unlawful nature and unjust withholding resulting in the use and benefit of someone else's assets without consent. These estates or insurance policies have been administered by the government for the Crown by the Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee for each province. Since the day our birth was registered, we unknowingly became wards of the Crown. And there are parties who are both using and benefiting from these accounts, including our tax systems, our banking systems, utility companies, credit cards, all the bills we pay in order to service our daily lives. Estate redemption has been created to put an end to this activity peacefully and lawfully. I'm sure our parents did not know they were surrendering authority over us as newborn infants to the Crown, allowing the Crown to establish these trusts, as evidenced by the use of the all caps. These estates have been active since our birth, and its system designed with good intentions to offer assistance in our lives. However, the entire system was compromised by corporate authority and has been hidden from us. The all caps name showing up in your life every day is not lawfully you. You are not that name. Let me explain the history of the creation of that legal person via birth registration. It began when your birth was registered, and it's not simply recorded, it's entrusted. In legal terms, registration means to transfer ownership or control. And by registering your birth, the state assumes fiduciary authority over the ward and the connected estate or special insurance policy created using you in an all caps format, which represents in fact an estate created in your name without you or your parents knowing. And that legal estate becomes the foundation for your insurance, social insurance number, your driver's license, your passport, your health card, your banking, tax filings, and even court proceedings. All of it linked to corporate fiction, not the living man or woman. The state holds your estate in trust without notice, because you never claimed or took control of the estate. The Public Guardian and Trustee, the PG&T, steps in and acts as your default trustee, assuming you are incapable, unaware, or legally incompetent to manage your affairs. But you're never told this directly, it's presumed. And as a result of all of this, the government manages the estate, issues fines and debts, taxes the estate, and holds you liable for obligations you never knowingly agreed to. So estate redemption is the act of reclaiming your role as the living heir and peacefully assigning the legal burdens back to the trustee. It's not about evading responsibility, it restores balance. This is a lawful act, and more importantly, it's a spiritual one. And I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I want to offer you information that this estate trust exists, and there's a lawful, respectful way to correct the record and settle this matter. You may want to notify the trustee of your estate that you're alive and well and completely capable of being a responsible heir. This is all about offering you an opportunity to make a polite request to have your status corrected, acknowledged, and placed on the record. And we know, according to the Public Guardian and Trustee Act, that the PG&T in each province acts as a default trustee. That is, until the living heir steps forward on the record, and that's you. You are the living heir. And it's important that we are discerning with information, and I want to remind all of you that you are responsible for yourself, and your actions must be a reflection of you. In other words, please do your own due diligence. Our words and actions need to reflect our hearts as light as a feather, for the scales of justice to rebalance. I know you are thinking this is too good to be true, but it's already happening in the United States and Canada. Brady's case is a testament. This is a restoration, a remembering, really. Please give this some thought over the next few weeks as we work to restore peace, order, and good governance. We want to respectfully request and encourage proper, lawful governments with free and fair elections. The elected will be asked to return to a true swearing-in as public trustees and servants to the local community. The core of the PUG protocol begins with the very simple task of asking our elected officials to swear an oath to be a public trustee with the mandate to care for and protect the local community and local interests. Our elected officials currently make a declaration of office and swear fealty to King Charles, not the people. The oath is both the problem and the solution. And there have been so many approaches to the all caps and estates. However, the estate redemption, a spiritual mirror, was created with vast amounts of knowledge by Brady Quiring and Claudio Selvaggi. This document and its process was created out of respect for natural law, and is all about how we can care for our communities and go about correcting all of this. The process has been successful already. I am suggesting beginning by reading The Estate Redemption, a Spiritual Mirror, which was written as a simple guide that explains why we need to correct the records. It is 23 pages, but well worth the time to look into. It does connect the spiritual path we're on, and it does put us in the process of lawful, peaceful, and timely declarations as the living heirs of our estates. Once you're comfortable with the corrections, you may proceed to writing a thoughtful letter to the Public Guardian and Trustee in your province, politely asking them to make this correction. The letter will include reclaiming of your standing as the living heir to your estate, distinct from the legal fiction, that all caps name trust entity created via your birth registration. Please write your letter with clarity and without conflict. The energy of your message is important because we want it to touch the heart of the service employees who read it. This process is the act of reclaiming your role as the living heir and assigning the legal burdens back to the default trustee, which we have determined is the PG&T, and we ask them to fulfill their fiduciary lawful responsibility according to the Act. That's it. No courtroom, no arguments. Lawful notice, done with respect and in honor. In summary, we are separating legal from lawful, declaring ourselves as living men and women living in a community with inherent rights, born free, in a system that needs correcting and connecting, and has been controlled by a crown. A systemic infiltration happened, and when our birth was registered, we became wards of the crown, and a very special living life insurance policy was taken out and has been administered using a system of all caps. The registration of our birth is the first legal instrument used to establish the estate, and it is what creates the government's authority to hold and manage the estate. However, it does not provide for the government to benefit in any way from your trust. That is usufruct, and that requires immediate attention. In closing, this is not about separation, it's about right placement and honor. This is more than a lawful remedy, it's a spiritual mirror. As Galatians 4 says, the heir is under guardians until the time appointed, and that time is now. Together we can formally declare we are the living heirs returning in peace. This notice also fulfills the spiritual obligations of the 2025 Jubilee, a sacred proclamation of karmic and financial forgiveness. This is your return to the center. You're not claiming power, you're reclaiming peace for yourself and others as you share your journey about estate redemption. And it's not just about redeeming an estate. This is about remembering who you are. To walk this path truthfully, one must awaken to a greater reality. We are not victims of a broken system, but souls on a sacred journey, unfolding through karma, memory, and the perfect timing of the ages. Estate redemption is the beginning of living as we truly are, free, loving, responsible souls. Finally, thank you. If this touches your heart, please consider the process and share this video with your friends.